She lives in Bourne, and she's a spiritual mediator. Did I say that right?
Yeah, spiritualist interpreter, yes, you can say it that way.
Okay. And she does commune with the spirits. She helps alleviate people's fear from dying, and she is a non-denominational minister. If any of you decide you want to get married, she can take care of it. I'm sure she does more than that, but that's usually what we think of most often. It's weddings, what is it they have, being baptized, being married, and being buried. They have passions dispatched group. So she can be very helpful in all ways. And all of you, I know at different times probably have had strange feelings and you weren't sure what they were. Well, maybe after listening tonight, you'll find out what some of those feelings were. Okay?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
And I apologize for not standing up. I just had surgery a month ago on my spine. So I'll every once in a while I'll feel like this, like one of those jumping brains, you know. And but I you know, you can hear my voice, and that's enough right now for everybody to hear my voice and just to listen. And if you want to sit there with your eyes closed, that's perfect, because a lot of the times when I used to sit in church, I'd sit there with my eyes closed and half the time I'd fall asleep. But the teacher used to say, you know, oh, Sharon, you're getting it through osmosis. Don't worry about it. You're getting it. I've been a spiritualist for at least the last 36 years. My daughter is 36. Okay, so 35 years. I first came to, I live in Mashpee right now, so that can change stuff, but I live in Mashpee. But I first came to the Spiritualist Church in Onset when I was 15 years old. I came because my mother met this gentleman who was a medium, and we came up for this, I think we came up for the summer or the winter. My parents were divorced, so I lived in New Jersey, and we came up here. And I walked into the first Spiritualist church in Onset, which there is a church in Onset. There's two places that I'll tell you about. I went to the first Spiritualist church of Onset, and I walked in and I went, wow. It's not a big place. It's been there for over 100 years. You got to take a look at it. And I walked in there, you know, young, 14 and stuff like that. I like, wow. And I'll tell you, the first time I ever heard of mediumship wasn't, I lived in New Jersey, and in New Jersey they showed a lot of, on Saturday and Sunday, Abbott and Costello movies, the Bowery Boys. I don't know if any of you people have learned that, but the first time I saw a medium was, it was Abbott and Costello, and they were in the Civil War, and they were killed, and they were thrown into a well. And then all of a sudden, these people buy this house at a different time, and they're haunting, you know, their spirits in the house. I'm like, wow, that's interesting, I like that. And then, of course, they pulled out the Ouija board. I don't do Ouija boards, okay? I was always told my teachers, do not take it out, because if you use the Ouija board, I know they say your intention has to be right, but you don't know what you're gonna let in. That little planchette thing that moves around, they call a little planchette, that, you know, that's powerful. And you don't know how powerful you are to what you could bring in. But anyway, that was my first, when I went to I said, wow, this is that Abbott Costello show. This is great. And my daughter doesn't know who Abbott Costello is. There was some people who don't know that because of a different age, right? So then I went to, and I went home and I told my dad, we went back to New Jersey, I went to this great church, and I spoke to a dead uncle. My father goes, whoa, whoa. My father we were Catholic, grew up, my dad went to Catholic church. My stepmother, who God love her, before she married my dad, she was a nun. So you talking about all this stuff, it's like, oh no, that's the devil's stuff, you don't do that. I said, okay, keep my mouth shut. So when I used to come up here in the summertime, I wouldn't even tell my dad. Then I made my way to the Wigwam. Now, the Wigwam is also an Onset, it's on another side of the street. And it's shaped like a teepee, and it was erected to the first Native American spiritualist. And it's gonna be opening very soon. I think it's gonna be opening in April. Is that right, Melissa?
I hope so, yes.
I know you're there. I don't have to look. I know you're there. And it's an awesome place. They have their services on Sunday morning, and they have a Native American, they have an Indian healing pole in the middle, and the healers come and they put their hands on you and do healings, and then you get a reading. There's some traveling ministers, like the Spiritualist Church also. When I walked into the Wigwam, I was about a year after I walked into the Spiritualist Church. I walked in and I go, oh my, I'm home. but I almost fell over when I walked in the church because the energy was so, threw me off. And it's an awesome place. So you people are so lucky to have, you know, I lived in New Jersey. The only place I went to I went to a Spiritualist church in New Jersey, and I have to say this, it scared the bejeebers out of me because it was like I was walking into one of those Saturday night horror movies. And the guy was a tall guy, I forgot his name, he was like Carradine with the stone tail. And that's what the minister looked like. And I'm like, and then in front there was this black thing. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like in one of those movies. But what I love here, all the freedom you have, the choices to go into a place like this and connect with a relative. You're not always going to connect with a relative right away. And I like to explain this to people. I've communicated, my father's passed away, my mom's passed away, I have relatives that are gone over the other side. My dad took him a while to come back. It did, it took him a while. I always tell people, you know, it depends on when you go over to the other side. Is it a trauma? Okay, if it's been a trauma, sorry to say, I'm gonna say murder, suicide, or a car accident, something like that, it takes a while for people to realize what happened. How come I'm here? What's going on? And then if you've like passed over, like from cancer, a lot of people, even before they pass over, they try to connect with their spiritual self more. I see that more now than ever before. I think nowadays, I don't call myself religious, I call myself spiritual. I also call myself a recovered Catholic. Sorry. I have nothing against, I was raised, but it wasn't until I became a spiritualist that I could understand what I was feeling. And let me just tell you a little bit, if you're wondering what a spiritualist is, you got all those wonderful TV shows on TV right now, you know, and, oh God, where'd you go? Okay. Well, let me just tell you what spiritualism is: the science, philosophy, and religion of a continuous life, based upon the demonstrated fact of communication by means of mediumship with those who live in the spirit world. A spiritualist is one who believes, as the basis of his or her religion, in the communication between this and the spirit world by means of mediumship, and who endeavor to mold his or her character and to conduct in accordance with the highest teachings derived from such communication. And then a medium is one whose organism is sensitive to vibrations from the spirit world, and through whose instrumentality, intellectuals in the world are able to convey messages and produce phenomena of spiritualism. Then we have healers. Now, I know I bet you a lot of people here know what Reiki is. A lot of you? Okay. Well, I was taught, not Reiki, when I first joined the church many years ago, I was taught the laying on of hands. And the laying on of hands, this is we say the laying on of hands is we're asking God in a nice way we ask God through a prayer to allow us to be an instrument of healing. We're not doing the healing. I'm not doing the healing. I'm the instrument allowing the energy to flow down through me into my hands and to be sent to the person. I'm not good, so I'm not going to tell you, okay, God, I need to put it on her head. They get brain cancer. I can't do that. The energy flows to where it needs to go. It has nothing to do with me except I'm the instrument. Okay, so, but a spiritualist healer is one who either through his own inherent powers or through his mediumship is able to impart vital curative force to pathologic conditions. And the last one I want to say is the phenomena of spiritualism. The phenomena of spiritualism consists of prophecy, clairvoyance, clairaudience, the gift of tongues, laying of hands, healing, visions, trance, accords, levitation, raps, automatic and independent writings and paintings, voice materialization, photography, psychometry, and any other manifesting proving that the continuity of life as demonstrated through the physical and spiritual senses of faculties of man. So that's our definitions, and we do believe we have our own spiritual do's and don'ts. And we say, you know, the main thing with spiritualism is do unto others as you have them do unto you. That's why I like it. Nobody's telling me how to live my life. Nobody's telling me what I need to do. I allow myself to be the best and the highest for each person I connect with. Okay. I know we're not here for long, so I'm trying to get different things here. There's different types of mediumship. Okay. I like to work with psychometry. Personally, I like to sit there and hold a piece of your jewelry and get vibrations from it, okay? And there's some of the people that, they do, come on, I don't know if you did it behind me. We also have from, in the Bible too, in the Bible, they talk about mediumship. Jesus was a medium. Jesus was a medium. He was a healer, he was a medium. He practiced the gift of tongues, the laying on of hands. We have something called, and I left it at home, I apologize. We have trumpet mediumship. We have a trumpet, our trumpet's name is Luna, and I left Luna on the kitchen counter. Sorry about that, guys. She is made out of tin, and she stands about yay high from the table. And in the old days, what the trumpets used to do is, the right ones. Now, there were people in the old days that did things not very nice. They played tricks on you, there were wires and different things. But to find the true spiritualist they had trumpet mediumship. A trumpet would float up, and it would go around the room, and it would go stop in front of people sometimes, and they would hear a voice of a loved one, or something called an apport would come out. Now, my teachers, Reverend Gladys and Kenneth Cussons, God bless them, they're past the spirit, they were my teachers, they were awesome, but they were old world medium. And they had gone around to different places. We have so many camps in the United States, we have some all over the world. And an apport, what would happen is the trumpet would go around the room, and it would be dark, and the trumpet would go around the room, and all of a sudden, they would tell you, now sit there with your hands like this and don't move. So no matter what was going on, you're sitting there in quiet time, and something would drop in your hand. You couldn't touch it. It was warm, you leave it alone. If you touched it, you would ruin the way it's supposed to be. So when the lights would come on, all of a sudden this piece cooled down after a while, and it would be, it could be a special stone, it could be a ring that you thought you lost, and all of a sudden, boom, it came through it. Gladys and Kenneth had these two stones come out. Actually, there were two on her watch and one for him. So they had stones come through the apports into their hand. Now the funny thing about it, they had a geologist, that's for stones, look at these stones and try to figure out what they were. Well, the geologist that they went to could not find out what these stones were. He didn't know what they were, he never saw anything like it before. So these were manifested through spirit, through an energy. That's what it is, it's all energy. It came through, and so she had them on her watch. My friend Marlene has Gladys's two pieces on her watch, and another friend of ours has Kenneth's ring there. So, there are different things will come through when they do it. We tried, we put our little Luna in the room, and she sits in the middle, and sometimes in the dark you'll see little sparkly lights come out of her, but we haven't gotten apports yet, okay? They say to do this, to be able to work with your trumpet or work with anything, you have to be a student, a steady student. Like, you can't sit, like, if you're gonna sit every day at 9 o'clock, every night at 9 o'clock at night for an hour with your trumpet, then you're gonna sit there, and that's how you're gonna connect with your guides and your teachers, okay? Also, there are spirit drawings that people do. There's a gentleman that comes to visit every year, twice a year. His name is Hoyt, and I could not find my spirit cards to bring tonight. I looked, and everything's disappearing. And the spirit doesn't want me to bring them. When they disappear, they want me to speak. So what this gentleman Hoyt would do would bring a basket, and he got it in India, and it's a snake basket, charming basket, and it's very dark. And really quickly, I'll tell you, what Hoyt does, and I always tell people, if you try it once, you don't have to do it more than once if you don't want to, try it once. You'll be in a room with him, and he'll say to you, he takes out index cards, big 5 by 7s, I think they are. And then they're already wrapped, they're still in the package, it's got a stapled. And I'll say to you, here, I'm giving you the package, open it up for me, and I want you to look to it and tell me if there's anything on these cards. And you'd open them, and these cards would be blank. Nothing, there's no lines on them anyway, they would be blank. But what happens is, he'll put them in a basket, and he takes, on the bottom part, he takes a layer of crayons, and then he takes magic markers with the lids on them, And then he takes pencils and pens, and then he puts some cards, he'll tell you put the cards in there, and then you put some cards, and then you put more crayons and more pens. Nothing, the only thing that has no time is the crayons, you can smell the crayons. He'll take this basket and he'll put it right in front of him. And the first time I went, I know I heard scratching. I know what I heard. It's blocked, it's there, he's standing there, nobody can touch the basket, nobody's near it, it's not in front of him. And I heard, you think there was a mouse in the basket, okay? But he would sit the basket down for about an hour, and he would go around and give messages to people in the room. And then after an hour, he goes, are you guys ready for your cards? And everyone said, yeah. Well, what would happen is he'd open up the basket, and a couple of the cards would come up like that, then all of a sudden, the card would come out, and there would be a picture on it, like a museum picture. I'll tell you, it's a picture, a beautiful picture. It would be made done with crayons and painting, whatever. And then you'd flip it over, and on the other side, your name would be on it. Now, you never wrote your name on it. You didn't write your name on any of that when you came in, okay? Your name would be on it, the name of your family member, or who your I had my dad. I had my friend Carmen, who passed away. I had a friend Robbie, who passed away. Oh gosh, another friend, a close friend of mine who I care very, very much for, who passed away, his name was on, and actually when his name painted on the card, I was in shock, because everybody turns around me and I'm like, are you stationary? I said, I'm in shock. I haven't talked to anybody, nobody knew this person's name, nobody would ever know that he would be with me. And his name was, I was just shocked. And I think it's the most awesome gift. It's called Precipitation. And there were other people along the ways in mediumship. If you ever can find the story of there's this ladies who their name was the Bang Sisters. And the Bang Sisters they said from 1816 to 1895. Two sisters, and they were mediums. And you would go to see these women, and you would be sitting in the audience like this, and she would be up on the stage, and she'd have, what do you call that, what people paint on, what is that, canvas. She would have a canvas on the stage, and she would pick somebody out of the audience, and they'd say, well, who do you want to connect with? And they'd say, who? And then, all of a sudden, they'd sit there, and as they're sitting there, it would take a while, but all of a sudden, these women just looking at the canvas, they say that eyes would start to appear on the canvas. It was one color. Then they said after that, then the hair. What ended up happening at the very end is that there would be this person was thinking about, they wanted to connect with, they would be on that canvas, the picture of it, like a portrait, okay? And at one point, I was told that when they took it to be examined to find out what the paint was, they said the consistency or whatever was on the painting was that the same stuff as butterfly wings, the colors of the butterfly wings, okay? And there's a lot of different stories about the Bang Sisters. I had a book, and of course that book, I lend things out and forget who I lend them to, and then I don't get them back. Everybody, I bet you have a lot of people in this room that happens to. I also found out there was a group of men, their names were the Campbell brothers. I didn't know this till last night. They too did spirit drawings. I'm not quite sure how they did them, but they did them. I'm just gonna, I don't think you can see them, but these are three pictures here basically of that, these are the paintings that the Bang Sisters did. They didn't paint. Their eyes did. Some spirit did the work, okay? When I say spirit, everybody has guides. We all have guides. So their spirit guides did the work, okay? I'm lucky. I get great spirit guides. They would yell at me. Then I yell back at them. Like Sharon's having an argument with her guide. They will. But I personally, my guides and I, before I came here tonight, I said, I asked that you guys come with me and help me do this work, do this shop. They said, okay, we'll be there. We're with you. Spirit, and we are lucky because at this time now in our lives, again, I said to you, like, I'm more spiritual than religious, but there's so many things popping up in our lives that sometimes we can't explain. First off, I always say to people, you probably heard this, I think there's no accidents or coincidence, things happen for a reason, okay? You can't tell me any other way, you know. My funny story is, like I said, I argued with my guys, and one year, it was 2 years ago, we were waiting on the big snowstorm to come, and, you know, whoever was living with us, they liked the bologna, German bologna, I can't remember who it was, but anyway. And I said, okay, I gotta go to the store, I'm gonna stop and shop, and he goes, no, you're not going to Stop and Shop, you're going to Shaw's. I said, no, I'm going to Stop and Shop. Well, I never have gone into, I think I've gone to Shaw's in Falmouth once, don't know what anything is. They kept arguing with me, I said, okay. I got out of the car, I went into Shaw's and I got my bologna, it was on sale, okay, German bologna, it was a good sale. And I'm walking through the store because I've never been there, all of a sudden I hear a man yelling, don't move. I'm just staring like this. You didn't know somebody robbing the store or something. And all of a sudden the bakery, what do you call it, the doors there, the meat room doors, boom, open. And this tall guy, good-looking man comes out, who I knew from years ago. A butcher came out, he goes, oh my God, where have you been? I've been looking all over for you. So Spirit connected us that way, that was a way of doing it, over bologna. Okay? I have had, I mean, you guys, like I said, on TV now you have the Long Island medium. I wish I had a personality like hers, but I don't. I can't do that. I can't. You know, I can't wear the clothes and I can't wear the hair, whatever. But she's good. Then you have there's other mediums on different shows around. And you know, Sylvia Brown was a leader in a lot of this. Shimon Howell put her on his show a lot of times. I used to get upset with her. I used to say, she's so brusque. You know, I don't work brusque. I work gentle because I don't want to like scare people or hurt anybody's feelings. And most of my people, the people that I work with, my students or my friends who are mediums, we're all more gentle in a gentle way. But you know, that's how Sylvia Brown works. That's how the Long Island medium works. God bless them. But we're lucky that we have this going around. I always tell people, if you're going to choose a medium, you better be very careful first. You know, listen to what other people say, and go with your gut feeling. If you get like something doesn't feel right, Spirit tells me. When Spirit talks to me, it's a quiet voice. They don't go, "Hey, Sharon." They do that, but I'll hear a voice and I'll like that's not me. Where did that come from? How did I know that? So to me, that's Spirit talking. The quiet voice is Spirit talking to us. We all have it. It's a lot of times we think it's intuition. And yeah, it could be, like, if you want to give it, if you don't want to believe it's a Spirit talking to you, if you want to believe it's intuition, that's what you believe, and that's okay. You know, but you have to remember, we all have this in us, and now, like we said, if you guys can come to, I don't know who's doing the meditation, but if you can come to that, that would probably be great for you to start out with, and probably go, wow, my goodness, wow. The more you sit in quiet time with Spirit, the more they come, they connect with you. We all have our guides. We all have our 5 big guides. And they're there. But if you're not going to talk to them, if you're not going to work with them, then they're just going, okay, all right, well, they're going to spin their mouths, maybe I'll listen. Okay. My guides, like I said, okay, we got here. Over here, on this side, we have a Spirit, his name is the Abbot. Now, the Abbot was my teacher, Reverend Gladys Cousins, her guide, her main guide. And I didn't know a lot about, well, my mom was sick with cancer, and she was getting ready to go. Everybody knew it. We all knew it. Nobody listened to me, but we all knew it. And one day, she loved Reiki. Loved Reiki. And the funny thing is, every time she used to go and have Reiki, I would fall asleep sitting on the chair. It wasn't her. I was sleeping. And everybody would laugh. So, you know, they said, Sharon, you slept again? Started snoring, I guess. But one day, the last time she did the Reiki, all of a sudden she was lying there and she was enjoying it, and all of a sudden this monk floated across the room toward me. He grabbed my face in his hands and he goes, Sharon, in 2 days she'll be in paradise. Now, I didn't believe it was my mom. I wasn't thinking mom. I was thinking of the woman who ran the Reiki place, that she was getting her new studio. And I said, oh, so 2 days? She goes, what are you talking about, Sharon? Not 2 days, it's going to be months. I was like, oh, okay. So, you know, the monk took off. He floated away, literally floated away. And I'm like, what the heck are they talking to? Well, the next day I took my mom to get her blood work, and they asked her, Lily, you know, do you want to keep doing it? She goes, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. And So she just didn't want to do it anymore. So one day she woke up and my ex-son-in-law, I'll call him that, I said, he said, did you hear her moaning all night? I said, I didn't hear a thing. And what happened in that house the week before my mother passed was unbelievable. Because I put what are those, baby monitor? Like a monitor. She was downstairs and I was upstairs. She was on the basement floor and I was up on the third floor. And one night, before she passed away, all of a sudden I hear her screaming and I jumped out of bed and I ran down the stairs. And all of a sudden, there's banging, literally. Boom, 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 the wall's shaking. Boom, boom. I'm looking around, there's nobody there. The dogs are freaking out. And then I figured, this is gonna be spirit. I yelled. I said, stop it, you're scaring her. And they stopped. The animals went and sat in the corner. Everything was quiet. And she goes, oh, you heard it. Thank you. She goes, the other night you didn't come. I didn't hear it the other night. I heard it this night. And as I was sitting and talking to her, she goes, Sharon, do you know who also showed up tonight? I said, who? She said, Uncle Joey and Uncle Mikey. I said, and what did they want? They said they wanted me to make spaghetti sauce. I told them I was tired. Now my father had 7 brothers. And Uncle Joey and Uncle Mikey were his brothers, and they passed the spirit. And they said to her, okay, Lily, we'll come back another time. So they left. And then one morning, the morning my mother was the day my mother passed, I went downstairs and I said, Mom, do you want your croissants and coffee? She goes, oh, no. She was French. No, that's okay. I'm just tired. So she lay there and I don't know, I thought something weird was going on. And I called the hospice and they said, a lady came over and she said, oh, no, she's going to be here for a couple more days. I close my eyes sometimes because for me, that way, I don't know, that's just how I do it, sorry. So, all right, I went upstairs after we cleaned her, changed her, and I sat in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, right over we had a washer and dryer in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, right over the monk's head was there. And he said, I told you, in 2 days you'll be in paradise. The Bible doesn't always say heaven, the Bible also says paradise. You didn't get it. Told you over recovery, so what I say, recovery. And so all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh, she's going today. I cleaned the house, made food for everybody to come over, called her sister, called my daughter, got my cousins over there, called my brother who didn't believe me, my other brother didn't believe me, and we got ready for her to pass over. So everybody's showing up. All of a sudden there's a knock on the door. This is what I'm saying, there's no accident. All of a sudden there's a knock on the door and I go up and I open it, she goes, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm with hospice. And my husband was stationed in the same town your mother was born in France. I would like to come and do a French mass for her. The lady, I said, come on in, and she was also, she could do communion. So she went downstairs and she did a French, she talked to my mom in French, and she did a French mass for my mother. And then she leaves. I did call the priest in between, but he hadn't showed up yet. She leaves, and then all of a sudden, my aunt's there, and I said, let's call France. Her father was still alive. My mom was just 61, she passed. So we called France, and she got to say goodbye to her dad. Say la vie, Papa. And talked to him, and that was good. And then she was getting ready to go, and a lot of people showed my friend, she was doing dishes at her house, she's a medium. She dropped the glass, all of a sudden, the spirit says, go with Sharon's now. She lived around the corner, so she dropped the glass. She leaves, her husband goes, where are you going? She goes, I have to go to Sharon's. But another friend of mine, she's a medium, she was in a Yarmouth, she said, I gotta go to Sharon's house. She was a nurse, her friend was a medium. So all these people were showing up at the house, and I'm lying in bed with my mom, laying on hands for her, and all of a sudden, everybody's finally there, doing laying on hands, and all of a sudden she gets up, and she kind of threw a temper tantrum. She got up out of bed, she stood up there, she goes, I'm not going. I said, what do you mean you're not going? I don't know what to say. And her sister was there, and I said, hey, Michelle. She thought her sister was her mother there for a minute, so I said, just tell her it's okay to go. So she says, Lily, it's okay to go. And she was like a little girl, and then like this. I think she couldn't see us. I think she saw my aunt. And she goes over to the bed and she sits down, she says, okay, and very methodically pulls her legs up, pulls the blanket up over her legs. I was on the bed with her, all around her, and all of a sudden she goes, okay, Mom, I'm ready. And she left. She left. It was a beautiful pass. I didn't cry, okay? But as we're downstairs, the phone rings upstairs. And my daughter answers it. It's my sister in Florida. My brother was driving down Alligator Alley, I guess it's or something in Florida, and he pulled the truck over, and he says to his girlfriend at the time, something's wrong. So he called my sister and said, is their mom okay? And she goes, I don't know, I'll call. So she called us just as my mother passed away. What ended up happening, my brother was driving, and he heard my mother say, goodbye, I love you, and she kissed him on the cheek in the truck in Florida. The same? You? See, it does, it's
She said goodbye, she came through the car.
See, that's what, this is awesome, you have to share it. People, these things, you know, some people think you're crazy, you know, those people like, okay, you know, goodbye. But there's so much, the world, right, we have so much of this going on, and share it because somebody else made something that happened to them, and they go, oh, I'm crazy, oh, this is it. It's not. The spirit world, it wants to communicate you, they want to connect with you.
It's real.
It is real, it is real. This gentleman, his name was the professor. He was my other teacher's, his wife, other teacher's guide. And my daughter's sitting here right now, but I went out to the pasta house in Fairhaven. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. I went there the first time, and I'm sitting there with my friend who's a medium. It was July 3rd, and we were eating, and all of a sudden I'm watching this man floating. Nobody else is seeing him. He's wearing clothes from like the 1800s, you know. He had a brown shirt or suit on. I think it's like brown. He had a brown suit on. And he's floating across the room, and I'm looking, nobody's looking at me. I mean, this guy's floating up to me, and he comes and takes his hand, and he says, I'm gonna tell you something. He goes, Bridget's my daughter. Your daughter's gonna be, Bridget, he said, Bridget's gonna be in a car accident, but she's gonna be okay. And other things are gonna happen. And I was like in shock when they said that to me, because she's my only child. And I go like, the media that's sitting with me there, I said, did you just see that guy? What guy are you talking about, Sharon? Did you have a glass of wine already? No, I haven't had my wine yet, but I think after that I needed a couple glasses of wine. And she thought I was crazy. I told her what the guy said, and it was him. It was the professor. The professor, he was from England, and he was Reverend Kenneth Custance, my teacher's, his guy. And he told me all this stuff. So I went home, and I shut the ringer off on the phone, but his phone's still on, but it was. No, I didn't shut the ringer. I lowered it, or yeah, I shut it off. And at 5 o'clock, I wake up in the morning, and it's being and I listened to the message. It's out of the hospital. My daughter got in a car accident. She flipped her car over 3 times. She's still here, but she learned a lesson from that one. So did I. I learned stuff. But I didn't want to. I'm like, oh my God! When I called the other girl that was sitting with me, she was in shock. Sean, everybody was in shock because the spirit came and told me this. So they'll show up sometimes, you won't, and it could be, a person on the street could say something to you and you're like going, did he just talk to me? Did he say something? Or she say something? Don't deny it, it's there. I mean, it's open, it's there in front of you. They're just waiting for you to accept them to come down. I always tell people, they're not gonna come and work with you unless you say, okay, Spirit, I'm open, receptive for you to work with me. I always ask for a demonstration. That's my big thing. I tell my students, if you want something badly, or if you want directions on how to do something, you say, I always say, God and the angels, I welcome all that you bring me, and I ask for a demonstration to show me what I need to do. And it's funny, a couple of things happened this week, I'm like, oh yeah, I can't believe that. But it was something I would understand. I got lost somewhere in Massachusetts years ago, and I had to go do something. And nobody spoke English in the gas stations. You know, they were all raining. I don't know what they were. You know, like we don't. I don't know. We don't know. I don't understand. They said, okay. So I sat in the car and I said, God, I need a demonstration. I need to get home. I'm on my way home. We didn't have GPSs back then. Okay, you had to go online to get directions to get there, but I couldn't get home. So finally, I asked for a demonstration. All of a sudden, the big God truck showed up in front of me. You know, one of those GOD trucks that used to be able to, don't have it, but it said God on the side, GOD. And I said, I got it, I'm going. I followed that God truck and it got me to the cake. I got home, okay? So it was better than a GPS. I got it. So, you know, the Spirit has a sense of humor. I said they are funny at times. Very funny, you know? They're there. They are so much there. I don't know what else to tell you. I have to show you this picture. I was going to show, I have wedding pictures. I went to my cousin's wedding a couple months ago, and the grandparents, the other grandparents on the other side both passed. Well, the bride and groom, or the bride's dancing with her dad on the dance floor, and he cried. All of a sudden, this huge orb over both their heads. That was the grandparents that passed away. Then I took a family, I mean, I couldn't walk fast because I hadn't had my surgery yet, my back was still bad. So I'm kind of on the side like this, trying to take a picture. And in the family picture, right there on the side is another orb, but they would be part of the family picture. So there's a lot, look at your pictures, people, because orbs showing up. Now, I had my birthday, I had a barbecue, and I invited my cousins and everything. And I developed a film. And all of a sudden, out of the film, an orb was over my cousin's shoulder. Now, if you watch some of your film pictures, guys, look at it real close. The orb was there, and then he had some on his stomach. He goes, well, why were they picking on me? And then his aunt got upset because how come I didn't get an orb? You know, I don't know what to tell them. But for some reason, they're, you know, you can pass this around. Everybody can look at it if you want.
Some of them look like they have a nucleus in them.
Some of them have faces in them. If you bring that, see, look at them. It happens. It's amazing. There is the ones. If you pull it real close on the computer, I saw a face in them when I saw it. I went to Highfield. I don't know if you know Highfield. You know Highfield? I have a picture at home. I couldn't find it. See, I don't know what Spirit did to me. I think I'm
About to go in there, we couldn't get in.
Well, I got a picture. We went to the Christmas celebration. Every Christmas after the Christmas parade, then Highfield Hall has their big thing. I went, and when I went, I got a picture of a little girl sitting on the ground under the Christmas tree. You see, she had a bob. Remember the old days, the bobs?
Yeah.
And then right next to her, there's a little dog. Okay, so a lot of people, one of my friends, the show on PBS, it was SNN. It's one of the shows on TV. He was a policeman in Falmouth at one time, and when the alarms would go off, Michael would be in a hurry. I'll do it. I'll go. He's a cop, you know. I'll go. The alarm went off. He liked those things. He liked ghosts and stuff like that. And he went up there. They did a show about Michael being there. I think he's even in a book there. But I went with him one before they even did Highfield all over. It was kind of scary. We went in there and it was like awful. It was beautiful. And one of the things I saw when I went up the stairs, they had the stairs that went all the way up, were three women in the old-fashioned dresses. You know, I thought it had to be probably a Christmas celebration. All I could think of was Scrooge and how the women in those dresses wore the dresses. And then all of a sudden, there's a gentleman standing next to me. He was a black man. And he said, follow me. So I'm going up the stairs, and he went a little faster than me, and all of a sudden you hear doors slam. And my friend Michael, who being the gentleman that he was, he said, oh, no, I'll go. It's probably a raccoon. Let me go ahead of you, Sharon. So, okay. So he's going ahead of me, and he couldn't find anything. And the man showed me, the black man showed me this room. And his friend had died. He must have been like a worker there in the old days, because that was a captain, sea captain, who owned those houses, that house there. There's a couple stories there going on. But he didn't call, when I said black man, he didn't like that. He said, I'm a colored man. Because in those days, that's what they used, the words. He told me, no, he didn't want me to use the word black man. He didn't want me to use Negro. He wanted me, I'm a colored man. So that was in English. That was that interpretation of the time that he worked at. I said, oh, okay. His name was Sam or Samuel. And then he was gone. So, so Highfield Hall has A lot of people will go around when they're not supposed to at night, and they look in the windows, and they look for different things. But, you know, sometimes they have it open to the public, you can go in and you take pictures. We all have different places like that. I was sitting in the other room, and like, I was talking to someone, I can't remember what her name is, she's in here somewhere. And I was sitting there talking to her, and like, I felt like that whole office back there was full of people, okay? There was a lot of people back there, so I'm like, okay, let's go, what's going on? I know you only have a certain amount of time here, so I'm trying to get certain things in here. I do a thing with my class, in the old days, they used to, the old mediumships used to do spirit in the red light. And what they do is keep the rooms very dark, shut all the lights off. And what we do is we have a overhead hanging, behind us you have a black cover, a black sheet, and then coming down at the person who would be sitting in the chair would be a red light. You know, so you got the red light, what do you got the red light? I said, no, wrong. And then people would take turns to sit in the chair, and after a while you would see, maybe the person sitting there, you could see a different face over them, or else you could see like the ectoplasm around them. Now this is me sitting in the red light, all right? And that's a lot of ectoplasm all around me. Okay, that's ectoplasm. Ectoplasm, everybody creates ectoplasm. What they do is ectoplasm comes from your different orifices, you know, wherever in your body, and it puts the energy out there into the world. And you know, my head looks like it's like I'm wearing a big hat on my head, but I'm not. So ectoplasm is what builds up energies for, you can have, by your energy, building up your energy, you're helping spirit come in into the energy into the room to show themselves. There was an accident, they tell you not to go near a medium when she's doing when she's in trance, because you could kill her. You could kill him or her. And it happened in the 1920s, a woman they told the guy, don't touch her, and the guy didn't listen, and he went to touch the ectoplasm and literally tore through, and the lady bled to death. Okay, because he touched her leg, and obviously it was vaginal, it was coming, and she bled to death. So you've got to be, they tell you to be careful. Nowadays, I think we're not so cautious, like in the old days. I think I'm going to say this, some of us we're stronger vessels, if you want to say. Our family, you know, sometimes our families want to connect with us. You know, my dad came back and said, Sharon, I said, he showed up in Woods Hall, he showed up, I said, he's yelling, talking to me through the window, and I said, don't move. And I go and got around and ran around the corner and went outside. And I sat on the porch with my dad for over an hour, and we talked. And he said to me, I said, oh, this is happening, that's how I already know all that, I don't want to talk about that. But he said to me, do you know what happened, do you remember when I died? And I said, yeah, he goes, no, I'm talking about when I died and came back. I said, yeah, I remember you told me. He was in a hospital, and in the old days, only allowed to go in a room, I think it was you allowed there 10 minutes at a time in what do you call it, special ICU. So it was my turn to go in, and I was feeding him, and there were more tears going into his soup. Then I was going on, waving his tears and feeding him. And he said, Sharon, I died. I said, I know you did. He goes, no, you don't understand me. He says, I left my body. He goes, and I traveled, and I went through this tunnel. He said, and then over a beautiful bridge, and I heard somebody calling Bobby, Bobby. And he goes, and I ran, it was my mom and my brothers and my aunt and uncle. And he gave them hugs over, he said they were behind the fence, and I gave them hugs over the fence. I said, that was good. He goes, I want to go around the fence. And this old man goes, you can't come back here. You can't go back. And I goes, I don't want to go back. Because he had pain. And all of a sudden he says, boom, he says he was stuck to the tunnel, boom, came back, and he goes, the pain was there. And he goes, you know what, Spirit, and my father, he had different experiences, and he died that year. But what ended up happening is he never got insurance, for my poor stepmother, he never got insurance on the house. Never got his life insurance taken care of, certain things. So what ended up happening, a few months later, he passed away. And like I said, she had her all the bells and everything. When he came back, he said, they told me, he goes, the reason I had to come back and tell you about that is because you're doing your right work. He goes, there is life after death. He goes, you have to have faith. How many people in here have had experiences with spirits? Uh-huh, see? How many you told your family and friends and they went, oh, yeah, sure. You know, so sometimes it's just for you. Some people can't take it, some people don't want to. There's a lot of fear around it. You know? See, there isn't, I said Spirit told me this because I don't fear death. I said Spirit, I would like to go in my sleep. And it keeps saying that. That's what I said, but we'll go with how we're supposed to go. But the whole thing is, it's like, it's not, my mother, I didn't cry. I didn't actually shed a tear when my mother passed away. The only reason I know is, this is my dad, there is a better place for her. There's no pain. You know, people goes, oh, you didn't cry. I said, I didn't need to cry. You know, my brother was screaming, crying when he came back. The funny thing about my mom is we kept her in a house. She died at 3:45. The clocks all stopped in the house downstairs. And the funeral home came to get her at 11 o'clock at night because the people were coming in. So we had her down in her bed. But then when guy walks in, he goes, what, they bring flowers here instead of going to the funeral home? Well, he said he could smell the lilies. Well, I said, if you're looking for Lily, she's downstairs. My mom's name was Lily. So the smell of flowers, lilies. What you could do is when you have a familiar, sometimes your spirit or family member or friend will come through, you might smell cigarettes. Okay? You might, excuse me? Perfume. Okay? My stepmother was a teacher, and all I can see when she's around, I can smell crayons, big fat crayons in kindergarten. I can smell those, and wax crayons. Everybody has a different way of thinking of connecting with spirit. Does anybody, I'm gonna say, I don't know what time it is. What do you say? Is it 8? Yeah. Okay. Does somebody, one or two people here want to share what's your experience with spirit real quick before I do some little readings? Anybody want to share? Okay, go ahead.
I was at my daughter's house, and I was babysitting. I was wide awake, and my little grandson was asleep next to me in the chair. And I was like closing my eyes, and then I know I was not asleep, but when I closed my eyes, I felt somebody standing in front of me, staring. And I opened my eyes, and this little boy I thought it was my grandson, and it was just as plain as day. He stood right in front of me, as close as you are. He smiled at me, had big brown eyes, and I went, oh, Jack, and then I looked, and I'm like, Jack was there. When I went back, he was gone that quick.
See, everybody, anybody else? I know you want to lay your raise. Go ahead, hon.
My father, the house that I live in was our family summer home, and he loved the house. And my son, Andrew, he was named for my father's middle name. My father died in 1969. Andrew was born in 1973. And Andrew had an imaginary friend. Now, Andy's sister had an imaginary friend, and I never thought anything of it. He'd come in from playing, and I'd have lunch ready, and he'd say, where's my friend Jim's plate? So I have to set a plate for Jim. And I have to go back a little bit. My father used to like to cook fish. And to this day, I still can't remember. I have to wait for my father to tell me. The C6, turn it over, you're cooking it on the wrong side. And I'd stand there and say, okay, Papa, turn the fish the right way. So Andrew, he was going to bed one night, and I said, we had company, and I said, do you want me to leave this door open and I'll close the other door? And he said, no, that's all right. Close the doors. My friend Jim's here. He'll watch over me. So a few weeks later, my kid daughter had my wedding book out. And they're going through the pictures, and they came across the picture of my father and me in the wedding book. That's my friend Jim. How do you know him? And then years later, in the house, we had my husband was down in North Carolina, and I heard noise, my daughter, when you used to be able to call 808 or something like that, and phone would ring downstairs, you could be upstairs and call downstairs, she did this. And she was upstairs, and we have a room that's kind of like an L room, it was his junk room, my father's. And so anyway, she calls me downstairs, she said, Mom, somebody's in the L room. So I said, well, don't, get off the phone, I'll call so-and-so, the neighbor. And she said, no. She says, it's fine, I'll come down. So she comes downstairs, and I get an empty 22, and I go upstairs, and I push the door open on the L room. There's nobody there, and I said, well, it's probably a squirrel on the roof. She goes back to bed. I said, you want to come downstairs? She said, no, I'll stay here. And my 2 sons were in the bedroom downstairs. So she stayed there, and I get in bed. I'm laying in bed, in the room over me, which is not the L room, it's across the hall. I hear all this noise, and I'm laying there, and I'm saying, Daddy, please, I gotta get up for the kids in the morning. And I, honest to God, I seriously felt myself lifted up in the bed, and then gently laid back down. The next morning, my daughter came downstairs, and she said, Mom, have the boys been upstairs? And I said, no. We had a hook and eye lock on the outside of the door. So I said, no, why? She said, because the L room door is open, and the brick is there to hold the door open. She says, who opened that door?
Oh, there you go.
And so, I mean, and we've had other stories in the house involving my father.
I always tell people, write down your stories, even as crazy as you think they may sound. Write down your stories. You know, pass them on. Later on, they'll make sense to maybe later on. They don't make sense now, but later on they will. So, all right, I'm going to do just a couple readings because she said it's supposed to end between 8 and 30. So, and then there's lots of good food back there to eat.
It's only 8 o'clock.
Okay, all right, it's only 8 o'clock. All right, thank you. Well, let's see what Spirit brings here tonight. I asked if they come before I left the house, and they came. They said they're here with me, so. I know there is a young woman on the back. Okay, I got a pointer. She's looking right at me. Oh, now she turned her head. Yeah. Can you stand up, hon?
Yeah.
There you go. All right. I can't see her. Okay. You see her?
Yep.
Okay. As you were sitting there, there's a gentleman standing behind you. Do you have any Indian in your vibration?
Native American?
Okay. There's a gentleman, but you must have a chief. Do you have a chief?
Yes.
He's standing behind it, full headdress, okay? And he puts his hands on your shoulder and he says, you have to stop doubting yourself. I'm getting goosebumps in my whole body as I'm telling you this. And he's saying something about letting somebody go.
Okay.
Do you understand that? Is it a male?
It could be.
It
Yeah.
could be. Okay, he's gonna hit you over the head until you get it, you know?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. He also says, is there a necklace of your grandmother's that you should be wearing?
My mom's.
Your mom's?
My mom's.
Does your mom have your grandmother's necklace?
It's her necklace that my dad gave her.
No, there's another necklace. There's something else. Okay. Your mom's still here? Ask your mother about a necklace, and I felt it was, you wearing something up close to your neck, right?
I usually wear a necklace, but I'm not wearing it
I was
today.
first putting something on you, because it was like, I thought maybe you had one of a choker on your neck there, and it was beaded. Okay, it's old. I can tell it's old, because you know, in the old days, they used to make their own beaded necklaces forever. And I can, God bless the patience, I can't even see the thread to meet up to sew my clothes or anything. But anyway, they're giving you, I feel like I want to tell you, you should represent your family with this Native American vibration.
Okay.
I don't know if you dance in the powwows. Do you dance in the powwows?
I used to when I was younger.
Oh, they went. We got the Mashpee powwow. We'll always looking for you this year.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But I feel like I want to tell you that, you know, start believing in yourself, because there's new energy around you. I feel there's also some kind of change coming in your life in September. And that's a good one. It's something good. You don't, it's something, I can't see right. I was wondering if it had to do with the work situation.
Okay.
Okay, but I feel good with it. Do you do any healing work?
I wanna get into it, I feel like I can.
Have you thought about either taking Reiki or going back to school for it?
I want to.
You're gonna do it.
Okay.
Get your butt in gear, go online and check out the schools. And I'm gonna say this, and I don't know, maybe I'm being ignorant, you have Native American, and you a lot of times have scholarships
Yes.
that are put out to help, and you need to check into them, okay? And I'm gonna leave you with that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome. There's a lady right there, you're smiling. And keep going, don't move your head, right there, brown sweater, is that brown or purple? I'm blind, there you go, you.
Yes.
Yes, you. Hi, how are you? You stand up so they can all look at you and gawk at you. I met a gentleman with you, and at first I thought he was taller than you, but then I thought he was shorter than you. He had some back problems before he passed away. He couldn't sit upright, okay? I always feel like my back, I don't know, but, because you look tall, you're not that tall.
No, I'm not that tall.
But I think he had some problems and he couldn't stand up the right way before he passed away.
My dad.
I was gonna say, probably as your dad coming through. But you know what he's bringing you now, do you have a sweet tooth?
Yes.
He's bringing candy bars. I was like, you just bringing, I like Heath bars and Score bars, sorry. But I think you were getting like Milky Ways and stuff like that from him. And he's bringing you, he goes, you're my sweetheart. And he comes to you, and is something coming up in May? What's the month of May, people-wise? Birthdays or anniversaries? There is some celebration coming in May, just remember that, okay? Were you raised Catholic?
Yes.
He's kind of saying something to me. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel about it. He goes, you're recovering Catholic. Sorry. Thank you, but he's coming through to you, and I think that his grandmother, also his mom, that, was she have, remember mass cards? We still get that. You know the mass cards? People, when they pass away, there's like 50,000 mass cards everywhere. My family, I still have I have a lot of mass cards. But I feel like your grandmother's with you, and something about somebody having some problems with their stomach area, digesting problems or something. She's making potato soup.
Wow.
She's showing me potatoes. So, I was thinking, is it Irish or something? No? But she's bringing soup. Somebody needs something for their tummy. Somebody needs something for their soup for their tummy. Okay? If it hasn't happened yet, watch. It might be something coming up. Oh, God, don't say that. She's, well, maybe an animal will work out. Sorry, don't leave that pressure. I think it has to do with the male energy around you. Okay, so she just went, keep an eye. And what I also want to put around you is pearls. I got a pearl necklace. Now, I don't know if somebody passed away that would have had a pearl necklace or a necklace with a pearl in it, but they're putting that around you, and it's not sea pearls, it's real pearls. Okay, so if it might be something in a box that somebody hasn't looked at in a while or something, so check it out. And you two, you should be writing. Do you like to write?
A little, yeah.
I want you to journal. Okay, and you're very sensitive. You cry in commercials?
Oh,
I
yeah.
do. Sorry, I do. You cry in commercials. I just felt they want you to write because I would sometimes, and you know what? When people journal, you don't have to do it every day. You can do it every other day, or you can do it twice a week, whatever. They just, I feel like they want to connect with you. Okay? I feel your dad's around you. I just feel lots of love from your father.
Yeah, I've been
Okay.
thinking about it, yeah. a lot of it.
And you know what I got? A radio flyer wagon. Do you remember the radio flyer? I got a wagon. I don't know if your dad used to pull you in the wagon.
Yeah, we had.
It's
some
old
stuff,
fashioned radio
yeah.
flyer wagon. So he just wants you to remember that he remembers the little girl in you. And he's around you. Okay, and I'm gonna leave you with that blessing.
Thank you.
All right. And I'll get to this man here who had experiences with spirit. You knew that, huh? Psychic, I knew it. Okay, you are very sensitive to spirit, okay? Have you ever gone to King Richard's Fair? No. You have a past life as a knight. That era. You know what I like about King Richard's Fair? You walk from this side, you're here in this century, you walk through the gates and you're in another time. if somebody could drag you, are you related to this person? Can you drag him this year?
Oh,
It's
I love
expensive.
going.
If you know, and you know what, if you know somebody who has a liquor store or a bar, maybe you get free tickets for Killian's Red, you get in to get into a Regent's Fair. Yeah. But I feel you have that, you're still strong. You know, do you know what your family, do you have a picture of your family, crest? You ever checked it out?
No.
I got a lion here, and I have two swords crossing. Okay, so I feel you also have a connection with Vikings. Okay, well, you know, I'm watching that show on History Channel, the Vikings. Well, they got dirty when they were fighting. I'm going, geez, I said, well, hopefully they have a lot of lakes to clean up there. But anyway, I see horns on your head, not bad horns, okay?
She says I'm a devil sometimes.
Oh, there you go. But no, you know what I feel is you steer, you go in the right direction. Even though sometimes you're like, you end up going in the right direction, okay? This person, actually, there's a little person standing next to you, there's a little girl right here. She's past the spirit, but she says you need to play more. You may not have to know her sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
You loosen up a little bit.
I know.
We're gonna get them, we're gonna loosen up, give her it's fair, we'll throw them into the mud pit.
I have to go to that. I've been going, but it just never got.
Well, this year, your daughter's gonna make sure you go, and maybe I'll see you there, we'll all do the dance for the Vikings, I don't know. But you have that, you should check out your crescent, your family crescent if you can, and see, you know, because I feel like there's a lot of history that you would enjoy your history.
It feels like she's in the Civil War.
Oh, okay, all right, Civil War, okay, thank you. Do you know your family, anybody in your family from this was in the Civil War?
Not that I know of.
When you say that, I'm just gonna give you the name Jacob, okay? And I feel sad with this vibration of this person because what I'm feeling is, and maybe you can pick it up too, is that he lost his love. He never made it back home to marry the girl he wanted to marry. Okay? And I'm gonna say this, it sounds like a silly name, but I got Roxy, like Roxanne. You'll get to connect with this. Remember this for yourself. You don't have to go to the go to Gettysburg if you want. I'd love to go. Nobody wants to go and sleep out on the field with me. I don't know why. But I felt like there's gonna be three things this spring and summer that are gonna be changing. One of the things I feel is like, you're here. You just told your story about spirit. That means because you shared it with everybody, it's like you're opening up yourself to spirit communication.
I am, I'm trying.
Okay. I'm gonna be teaching a class at the Wigwam.
I'll be over there.
Okay. I think the end of April I think that's what it's gonna be opening. But I'll be teaching, I don't know if it's gonna be a Tuesday or Wednesday class, and it's usually from 7 to, I try 9, everybody laughs at me because they say 9:30, it's usually 10, sorry. But you're gonna be opening up and watch the energy that's around you. You also are gonna connect with some healing work.
I see and feel a lot of things. Like you say, it's strange, but it's coming now. Finally starting to recognize things more than I used to.
Okay. There's an awesome set of books I started with 30 years ago. And there was a woman, her name was Grace Cook. And Grace Cook channeled a spirit called White Eagle, an entity White Eagle. And they have, you get this from the White Eagle presses from England, but you can go to Amazon.com and get used books of this. It's book 1 through 4. It's called Spiritual Unfoldment. When it's unfolding, it means you're opening yourself up to spirit. Okay? They're awesome books. Actually, when I started reading those books, you could only read 3 pages or 4 pages at night because it's so much. Well, after I would read, I go to sleep, and White Eagle would keep me awake all night. He goes, did you get it? Did you get it? And actually, she showed up in my living room one day, and she said, during the hurricane, Bob, everybody left me alone in the house. And she showed up. She showed up, and she said, this is my name. She goes, my name is, she told me her name, and I said, well, I don't know you. She goes, yes, you do. She said, you have a book of me in your bookcase. And she goes, my birthday is in September. This is my Indian spiritual name. And this is my real name. I said, okay. After she was gone, she wanted me to work with her. She wanted me to tell you about these books. That was one of the things. And when we was finished, I went and looked at my bookcase. Darn it, there was a book with her face on it, her name, her spiritual name. I'm like, okay, and her birthday.
Very good.
So, if you can get these books, spiritual unfoldment books, and read them, they can change your life. They can change my life. Okay? So you are gonna be busy. We're gonna keep him busy. Okay? Okay? Do you like animals?
Oh, yeah.
You heal animals. You're connected with animals too. Okay? I'm not telling you you're a vet. You might be a vet, you whatever. But just brave people who heal animals with laying on of hands, reiki, whatever. He's gonna leave you with that. Okay. And there is, let me see, I see a gentleman way back there. He's between a couple ladies. Yeah, you just turned your head. Do you have glasses on your head? There, get that man right there. I feel glasses. No, next to the man, up another. Yeah, that man. Is that glasses on his head? Yes. Can you see another? I can always see what you look like. Oh, he's real. Are you hiding down there? Okay, you're right. Listen, there's a woman here who's coming to your vibration, and in the old days, I remember growing up, we used to have, people remember cordonware? They all had the lids on them. There's a lady coming into your vibration who's coming through with food. And I feel like she's got an cordonware dish with the top on it, you can't see it until it gets to the table. I don't know if it was macaroni and cheese, I don't know what it was lasagna, but when food comes from spirit, it's for attainment. Okay, or I always say it's like, what do I want to say to you? Like stability in your life, changes coming into your vibration, okay? Security in your life. But this is a grandmother, okay? You're not that tall, okay? How tall are you?
5'8".
Okay, then you're tall. But your grandmother was a lot shorter than you, right?
Well, yeah, usually they are.
Okay, all right. He's testing me. I'm just giving you what I'm getting. And I feel like every time, you know what I like sometimes walking into somebody's house, I'm like, oh, it smells like the old days. Oh, some lady walked into my bathroom a few weeks ago, she goes, you remind me of my grandmother's bathroom. I'm like, oh. I don't understand why. Well, anyway, I think your grandmother's with you, and I feel that when you were sitting there, she was whispering. Do your ears ring sometimes, high pitches?
No.
No? She was whispering in your ear, and she said, don't be afraid, make the change. Don't know what it meant.
Okay.
None of my business, okay? But sometimes spirit, when you hear spirit too, everybody, if your ears are ringing high pitches, that's a sign they're trying to get something through to you. I look at the clock when that happens, and I go, what the heck is going on? And then when I go to bed at night, I'll say, okay, I know you're here, and I welcome you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, with the white light, the Christ light. Do you wake up around 2:05 or 2:30 in the morning?
Sure.
Sure, not everybody does that. I don't mind. That's specific. Okay. But I feel they're trying, there's a gentleman too who's trying to wake you up when you're sleeping, and I keep feeling trains. He loves trains. I don't know if he worked or, in the old days too, everybody used to have a train. I remember going to somebody's basement and the whole basement was like train city, okay? I don't know if that makes sense to you right now.
No.
But I don't think he was old man. I feel like when this man died, he might have been in his 40s or 50s, and I always want to grab my chest, okay? And if you can't place the name of Tom or Thomas, okay, right now, think about it. You're married, right?
Yes.
Ask your wife. She knows all this stuff that you forget.
Okay.
Okay? So go, honey, did you listen to her? You don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just giving you information. I also felt like you were, this for you also, I think you're taking care of the books. And I thought it was business, okay? Something with business, books. But I felt like, again, abundance, the macaroni and cheese that we don't have tonight. Somebody's got to pay. Okay, the food is abundance and prosperity, so I feel like any kind of, it has to do with finances, and I get enough being nosy, I don't have to know a darn thing. But a lot of, you're clearing up books, you're fixing, helping, when I say fixing books, that's not right. I mean, you're taking care, you're getting things taken care of, all right?
Sure.
Smooth sailing,
Right, yeah.
okay? And, I also got an old watch, does somebody have an old, you have an old watch that would have belonged to a father or a grandfather? I keep going to my left, and they don't let me work the bracelets that I want to. Can you place that old watch that would belong to somebody? You know,
Geez, I just opened up a watch I bought 10 years ago.
You bought that
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah.
No, there's a treat, there you go, maybe that's what they're talking about. But they said something about a watch, no watch. Okay, and, I also have the last name of Gleason, and I'm gonna leave you with that, okay? Ask your wife, I hope you figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and enjoy the watch.
Okay.
Okay. And, this lady, okay. There's a lot of ladies here. Okay. The young lady here with the black sweater, the pretty blonde, you right here? You. Okay. I got you, and the lady behind you, you're not connected to the lady behind you, are you? Is there a lady? Is there somebody behind you? Gentlemen, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, first I'm gonna turn the blonde. Sorry, I didn't have my glasses on. See? Oh, the blonde, the lady there. Okay, yes, okay. Hello. One of the things I'm giving you is the color red for energy. Okay, I'm a spirit's trying to bring it to you, to give you more energy. I don't know what your energy level is, and it's none of my business. Okay, but what I'm also feeling that there's a gentleman standing next to you on, well, I'm gonna say your right side, which is your left side, whatever. That side, right side to me. And what I felt is, thank you, with him is, it was an accident with him. Okay, not telling you what kind of accident, and we're not gonna get into that. But he's coming into your vibration and he's bringing you a pink rose. Okay, I don't know if this person meant anything to you or what, but a pink rose is for love. And there's always unconditional love out there. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it's love, and I bring it into you. I also feel that there's a lady in spirit behind you, and is this a new haircut?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, she says, I don't know if I like the new haircut. I don't want to look like before, sorry. My spirit has a sense of humor. Like, uh-oh. We're not gonna tell you about anybody's clothes tonight, jeez. All right. But she's like touching your hair, and she's like, I don't know if I'm used to it. All right. This feels like a mother or grandmother passed over, okay? And in the old days, I used to be a hairdresser in the old days, 30 years ago, and they used to get their hair done and they put vinyl net in it. And that hairdo wouldn't move for a week. Okay, so I saw this lady used to like to get her hair done, and like I said, maybe it didn't move for a week, I don't know. But she's just, because you know what, our hair nowadays, it just kind of flies, it doesn't say. But what I feel that this woman's coming in with lots of love, and she showed me a ring that you would have of hers. Is there a jewelry box that somebody would have with some jewelry in it? Is there a bowl box with some jewelry in it that somebody did?
Somebody did give me some jewelry, but I'm right.
Look, something about looking through this box that there is, which you may have bypassed, may be there now. You know, like I said, sometimes it's not there, it's like, I looked, for a week I looked, there was nothing there, how did this get here? So, something, and if it hasn't been given to you yet, maybe it's something that may be coming to you also. It's silver though, or white, or platinum, you know, like the color there, okay? And, if you insure. You put out a lot of energy for people. Do you help a lot of people? Are you there for a lot of people? You know, sometimes you kind of let yourself go. Good thing you get your hair cut for yourself, because otherwise you're doing it for everybody else. Okay, they're saying that they're trying to bring the red is for energy, and I told you at the beginning. You know somebody who passed away from who had a drinking problem?
Passed away from a drinking problem?
Psoriasis, liver.
That's my grandfather.
Was he a hard man?
I never knew.
Do you know if they said that he was like, philosophical, but he must have, I feel like he was a strong-minded man.
He passed away when my mother was little.
Okay.
My mother would be 99 now, so that's
Oh,
long.
well, that's a wonderful age, I'm glad that, oh, geez. But I just felt like this man is like, going like this, and the Spirit's saying, leave her alone, let her take her time. I also feel there's something new that you're gonna get involved in. They have the month of June, some changes, something that you're gonna get involved, I don't know if it's, do you like to go out with your friends and dance?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I just felt like you were out there with friends, and I felt like there's something new, a new relationship or something coming for you, Jim. Okay? Kick your heels up, please, all right? I don't know if you wear the stilettos. I said if I ever put one of those, I'd go face first on the ground. But Spirit just showed me that you need to go out and have some fun, because I do feel that you put a lot of your energy out for other people. And I felt like there's something, a piece of paper, something that you're gonna be signing, but it's a good sign, whatever this is, it's good, whatever you're signing, piece of paper, I feel good with it. I don't know if it's, again, your work situation, or if you're buying something new. I'm not gonna tell you any appliances breaking down, we're not going there, I don't wanna get in trouble from anybody. But I felt like whatever you're signing your name on, because I don't want you to give away something, but I feel good about it. Okay, and I don't know, are you trying to do something different, or buy something, or sell something?
Trying to do something.
And would it involve something with paper, signing your name over or something?
Yeah.
It feels good, I don't know if you feel good about it, but you know what? I don't get your knickers in a twist, they would say in the old days in England, just think positive and good thoughts. I always tell people, see as if, see, when you think of something, see it as if it's already done, as if it's already taken care of. How many of you have read The Secret? How many have seen the movie The Secret? That can change your life. I tell people, if you go online, thesecret.com, find the libraries have this DVDs there too, going. I feel they can change your life, okay? Yes, I got to shake it, yeah, okay. What time is Bridget? 8:30. Okay. Well, that's it for now. I'm just gonna leave you with, I'm gonna say a prayer before we go. There are refreshments in the other room, okay? My daughter put down a piece of paper if you
I
want to
still have it.
You got it?
If you want to sign up for up and coming events, or if you're interested in a private reading with Sharon, I also have her business card.
I put on, we have a lot of psychic fairs going on over the next few months, so I always put it on my Facebook, okay? Is that Carol?
Yeah.
You better come up here and talk to me when you're done. All right. Okay. Because Lily was there, okay?
My mother?
Yes. All right, we'll talk. See, that was a reason she jumped up. There was no accident or coincidence. All right, so we got all that information. I'm going to say up here. God, the angels, I ask that you walk with all these people in this room tonight, and I ask that you go through help them with their lives and give them guidance and direction. And I also ask that you give them demonstrations that this is all true, and it's very healing for everyone. I thank you. Amen. So, thanks. Good luck.